Okay, let's dig into this. We all felt that that specific kind of modern anxiety. You're watching your phone battery dip into the red.
Oh yeah, that sinking feeling.
Exactly. Now just imagine that feeling amplify by about 1,000 pounds. You're in your EV and the range counter hits 0.
Right.
And EV adoption is it's accelerating so fast, but that means the need for these specialized roadside solutions is growing right along with it. You can't just walk to a gas station with a can.
No, you can't. And that's what makes this case study you've brought us so interesting. It's focused on a mobile EV charging service in the Sacramento area.
A very specific example.
It's a perfect sort of localized lens. We can see exactly how this new industry is solving that very old problem of being stranded, but with logistics made for today.
And that's really the mission for this deep dive. We want to get past the headlines. The goal is to unpack the hard logistics, the pricing structure, which is surprisingly transparent.
Which is rare.
It is. And most importantly, really explore the huge strategic advantages this mobile charging approach has over the slow, painful, and often very expensive tow truck model.
Look, it's not just about knowing how an EV works anymore. It's about understanding the whole ecosystem that's being built around it.
Mm.
If you drive an EV or you're even thinking about it, this is need-to-know stuff.
So let's start with the immediate value. Their core pitch is simple. Emergency roadside EV charging, 24/7. They'll come to you. But how do they define that service?
Well, what stands out right away is how precise they are. They manage your expectations. They say, and this is a quote, emergency range recovery only.
Okay, so they're not a gas station.
Exactly. They are not a substitute for a big fast charging station. They are a bridge. Their whole goal is just to give you enough range to safely reach a charging station.
Just a few miles then.
Maybe 5, maybe 10 miles. Just enough to get you off the shoulder of the road into a real fixed charger.
And when you're stranded, I mean, speed is everything. What kind of promises are they making on response time?
This is where they hang their hat. They commit to a 30 to 45-minute arrival guarantee,
Wow.
which, if you think about waiting for a regular tow truck, especially in a city, that's really competitive.
Very competitive.
And they even back it up. They say their average response time is just 35 minutes. That kind of consistency is crucial when a driver is anxious, maybe even in an unsafe spot.
That fast response raises a question about the tech, though. This can't just be some guy with a battery in his truck.
Oh, no, absolutely not. This is professional grade stuff. First off, they're licensed and insured, which is, table stakes for trust.
Right.
They specify that the equipment is generator powered and it's supervised by a technician the entire time.
Okay, let's pause on the technical side for a second, because this is where you can lose people in the acronyms.
Yeah.
The source mentions J1772, CCS, CHE-demo, and a Tesla adapter. Why is that so important?
That's a great question. You should think of those acronyms J1772, CCS, JDEMO as all the different plug types in the sort of wild west of non-Tesla EVs.
So every brand has its own thing.
Pretty much. J1772 is the basic one.
Mm.
CCS and JDEMO are for faster charging. A rescue service has to have all of them because you could have a Nissan Leaf, a Ford Mustang Mach-E, a Hyundai Ioniq. They all use different plugs.
And the Tesla adapter just covers the biggest player in the market.
Exactly. They've solved the fragmentation problem on the spot.
So they show up, they can plug into anything, but they're providing what's called level 2 charging. For our listener, that's the speed you'd get at home, right? Maybe 20 to 40 miles of range in an hour.
That's it exactly. It's really the sweet spot for an emergency service like this. It's fast enough to give you that 5 or 10 miles of range in, say, 15 or 30 minutes.
It's just a quick interaction.
Right. But it's not the super high-power, high-cost infrastructure of a DC fast charger. It's efficient, it's safe, and it's easy to deploy on a truck with a generator.
Okay, so they're fast, they have the right plugs, they have the right power level. That takes us to the other kind of anxiety, the financial anxiety.
A great one.
This level of specialization has to come with a price. How do they handle the cost?
This is where they really disrupt the old roadside assistance model. The source keeps emphasizing flat upfront pricing with no hidden fees.
That's huge.
It eliminates a massive source of stress. You approve the price before they even start charging. You know exactly what you're paying for 15 minutes of juice versus, say, 45 minutes. That transparency is a game changer in the towing space, which is famous for surprise fees.
So let's get into that menu. They're not really selling electricity. They're selling time, packaged into 3 tiers. Walk us through them.
The tiers are just based on duration, so the driver can pick what they need based on how far away the next charger is.
Okay, what's the first level?
That's the quick rescue.
Right.
It's $149, That gets you up to 15 minutes of level 2 charging.
15 minutes, so that'll get you what, maybe 3 to 7 miles?
Just enough to creep to a nearby exit.
Yeah.
And look, $149 for maybe 5 miles of range sounds really high compared to a public station, right? That's maybe $5 worth of electricity.
But you're not paying for the energy.
Exactly. You are paying for the service, the speed, the technician, the 35-minute average response time. It's a pure emergency convenience fee.
Okay, what's the next step up?
The standard rescue. That's $249 for up to 30 minutes of charging. And the source notes, this is their most popular choice.
Ah, so that tells you something.
It tells us most people want a bit more of a safety buffer. They're not just trying to get to the next corner. They're trying to get to a specific charger that might be a little further out.
And the top tier for when you're really out in the middle of nowhere.
That's the extended rescue. It's $349 for up to 45 minutes of charging. This is for someone who ran out on an interstate, far from the city center. It's the maximum assurance they can offer.
But even with a clear structure, there are always add-ons. After hours, long distances, how do they handle those?
They're just as transparent. If you need help late at night, what they call after hours, from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m., it's an extra $50.
That seems reasonable.
It covers the extra cost. And if you're outside their main service area, it's a mileage fee of $3 to $5 per mile.
I saw one fee that was really interesting. A $50 restart replug fee. What is that about? That sounds like more than just pulling the plug out and putting it back in.
That's where the specialist part really comes in. This isn't like a gas car. If an EV battery is totally, completely dead, the car's computer can go into a kind of deep sleep mode.
Protective mode.
Exactly. And it might require a very specific sequence to wake it up and get it to accept a charge. That $50 fee is likely for the time and expertise needed to troubleshoot that. It shows this is a technical rescue, not just a simple refuel.
And this company, they're not just waiting by the phone for panic calls. It seems like they're building a bigger business.
They are. They're looking at the whole market. They offer something called at-home charging service. You can schedule an appointment for them to come to your house or your office and charge your car. No installation needed.
Instant convenience. And what about for businesses?
Yep, the fleet support service. This shows they're thinking much bigger than just you and me. They offer volume pricing, they can charge multiple vehicles at once, and, most importantly, priority response for businesses.
That makes sense. A delivery company with a fleet of EV vans can't afford downtime.
Not at all. They need that van back on the road immediately.
Okay, now we get to the core argument here. The real aha moment. The direct comparison, this mobile solution versus just calling a tow truck.
Right. The source really hammers this point. It's a battery problem, not a tow truck problem.
So why is this so much better?
You have to quantify what they call the towing trap. It's not just the obvious cost, it's the hidden costs and the incredible amount of time you lose. Towing an EV is expensive because it usually needs a flatbed truck to avoid damaging the motors.
And it's slow.
It's so slow because you're dealing with two different companies, the tow company and then the car dealership.
Let's break down the money part. The source gives a specific estimate.
They do. They estimate the total financial hit from the towing trap can be anywhere from $300 to a shocking $600.
Wow. How does that break down?
Well, the tow itself to the dealership is usually $400. Then the dealer often hits you with a separate charging fee of $50 to $150 just to plug it in.
When you look at those numbers, suddenly that $349 mobile rescue fee starts to look pretty good.
It starts to look very competitive. You could save up to $250 right there by just avoiding that whole process.
But you said the money is only half of it?
The money is only half the story. The time you waste it's just staggering. It's often way more painful than the cash. You start with a 1 to 3 hour wait just for the flatbed to even show up.
Okay.
Then they transport your vehicle to the dealer. And that's where the real black hole of time opens up.
Because you're in their service queue now.
You're in their queue. You're waiting for a service bay to open up. You could be waiting hours, maybe even days, depending on their schedule, just to get plugged in.
So the source puts a number on that.
They estimate the total time wasted is, conservatively, 4 to 8 hours. And that doesn't even count the hassle of getting a rental car or an Uber home while your expensive EV just sits there.
The source also points out other risks like hidden prices, the old call for a quote line.
The worst. And the very real risk of a tow operator who isn't familiar with EVs causing damage with the flatbed. You want an expert handling your $60,000 piece of tech.
So the final comparison is pretty stark.
It is. The company projects you save $50 to $250, but more importantly, you save 3 to 7 hours of your life. It completely bypasses the dealer and gets you back on the road immediately. That focus on time is the real breakthrough.
But for a new service like this, building trust is everything. What kind of guarantees do they offer to remove that customer risk?
The guarantees are the foundation. They start by restating the speed, that 30 to 45-minute arrival guarantee. But the financial one is the one that erases all hesitation.
Which is?
If we can't get your EV charged,
Zero.
it puts all the pressure on them to deliver. And while you're waiting, they give you total transparency. Every rescue has live GPS tracking of the truck.
So you can see it coming on your phone.
You see its exact location, its ETA, and you get text updates the whole way. You're not left wondering if help is actually on the way.
Okay, so let's get specific on geography for a listener who might be in that area. Where exactly can you get this service?
They cover a very clearly defined 30-mile radius from Sacramento, and their location is strategic. They dispatch from Folsom, which lets them hit that entire circle pretty efficiently.
And they list the specific cities.
They do. It's Sacramento, Granite Bay, Folsom, Roseville, Rockland, Elk Grove, Citrus Heights, Carmichael, Fair Oaks, and Rancho Cordova. It shows they've mapped it all out to be able to meet that 30, 45-minute promise.
And the whole stressful process is boiled down to a simple 5-step plan.
They make it totally painless. 1, you call or text. 2, you get an SMS confirmation. 3, you track the tech with GPS. 4, they arrive and charge you up.
And 5, you drive away.
You drive away. You avoid the entire towing and dealer nightmare. It's built for speed and simplicity.
So when we pull all this together, the flat fees, the speed, the technical know-how, what's the big takeaway here about the EV world?
I think the key learning is that services like this show that a critical infrastructure gap is being filled. And it's not just by big government projects. It's being filled by agile, transparent private companies.
Companies that see a specific need.
A very specific need. This model understands what the EV driver values most, their time. It prioritizes time savings and avoiding damage over just, basic transportation, which is all a tow truck is. It's a necessary evolution for roadside assistance.
That's a great way to put it. And it leaves us with a really critical thought to mull over. If these flat-rate $200 emergency services with 35-minute response times are so necessary and so valuable, what does that demand tell us about the state of our public charging network?
It suggests there's still a lot of gaps.
It suggests the network is still too sparse or maybe too unreliable in key areas. So the big question is, how quickly can we expect this innovative business model to become the standard expected service in every major city in the country? Because if EV adoption keeps up this pace, this stops being a niche service, it becomes an essential utility.